Good afternoon, one and all of you. My special thanks to Gaurav to include me in his course, and I always consider it a great value addition to my strength. After all the gymnastics which you have seen, I'm taking you back to the basics because I was supposed to be the first to start the talk. So I think let's come to a real world situation where we handle smaller subluxations, and CTRs come as the first aid in these settings. Going on to the very basic case, this was a traumatic cataract, which a little bit of phacodonosis, and basically the main thing is the anterior chamber should not be shallow at any point of time. Enough viscoelastic to be used, and we should go into the side port, because if you go into the main port, some of the viscoelastic would burp out and the AC would shallow and the rhexis could run away. It's very critical to get a nice round rhexis, a good hydrodissection, because we need to have the nucleus totally mobile. So we should not cut short on any of these steps. And when you start inserting the CTR, it's ideal to go into the side port, because again the anterior chamber is well formed. Shallowing of the anterior chamber would unzip some of the zonules which are already getting weaker, and the very C configuration of the CTR, you can see, helps us to veer it into the capsular bag. But I would always suggest that we hold the last bit with the instrument SIMKey instrument to the side port, and ensure that you have tucked in your CTR into the bag, because if it were to be at the angle, it would impinge and it would not serve the purpose, and it would not circularize the bag. Again, although you have inserted a CTR, you should do a slow motion phaco with lowered parameters. Ensure that you do the surgery in the pupillary plane, and so that especially the last segments, because there is no support in the bag, it's already lax, and the whole capsular bag would get trampolining in. So you have to do the whole surgery in low flow parameters. Again, because the CTR is right into the angle, it tends to sort of ensnare the cortical fibers. So you have to really tease it out and be persistent about it and keep moving in a tangential direction, but never give up without removing all the cortex, because leaving some cortex would cause more of PCO and a capsular bag contracture, which is eminently possible in a lax bag because of the asymmetric contraction of the bag. Going on to this next situation, this is again, it was a premium IOL surgery, and before the Varion and all started getting added to our practice, I used to use this capsule rhexis marker. And this was a multifocal restore, but you can see there's a small dialysis which is caught, which happens there. Very small, there's no vitreous presenting, and you can see that I'm doing a polishing of the bag, and the bag is quite stable and intact, and there is no extension of the small area of zonular dialysis. I could actually just inject the intraocular lens at this point of time, and the haptics of the intra itself could push the bag back and keep it stable. But keeping in mind that we're doing a multifocal IOL implant, and being a centered intraocular lens is so critical in a multifocal, even more than in the others. So I prefer to insert a CTR and then go ahead and implant the multifocal lens. This is a case of a coloboma of lens, as you can very well see. So whenever you're dealing with the cortex removal, it's always to start away from the area of the dialysis and go again a slow motion, swishing motion of stripping the cortex, and come to the area of dialysis right in the end. This is again a stationary situation, but I would still prefer to insert a CTR in this case, and this is an injectable CTR which is inserted through the main port, and how you can see that you have to gently guide the CTR into the capsular fornix, and sometimes the last segment, in case it doesn't open up on its own, you may need to use a side port instrument to tuck it in. This is a case, again, another traumatic cataract. You could see there's some amount of vitreous presenting at the subincisional area. And you can see the vitreous stand which is coming in. This is my older video when I was not using the Tramsulone those days. And again, although there is a vitreous presenting, it appears to be coming from the area of the dialysis. So I insert the CTR, and the surgery continues. But at any point of time when you feel the vitreous is presenting in the zonular dialysis area, you should keep going back and doing the vitrectomy. Ensure that you have cleared all the vitreous. Then you should go about removing the cortex. Even after placing in intraocular lens, you should ensure that there is no vitreous presenting. And I would never suggest that we keep moving Johnson's bud or a Merosil at the incision side, because even that kind of traction could cause more traction at the vitreous base. But we should ensure that the vitreous is totally removed at the end of the surgery. This is another case which was actually a routine, ordinary case, just a more well-dilated pupil, and surgery was going on. I did a good hydrodissection as usual. But when I start the phacoemulsification, my stop and chop, I feel that I don't get that usual kind of a rebound, which is saying even when I'm splitting the nucleus, it appears to be sinking into the bag. But the very fact that the nuclear fragments are coming forward, I sort of believe that if there was a zonular dialysis or vitreous, the nucleus followability would not have been there. But things keep going into conclusion, but I'm very careful that my parameters are low, because the bag somehow appears to be lax, but there is no clear-cut evidence. Now I've decided to go ahead and remove the cortex, but at this point when I'm removing the cortex, you could see those microstriae which are coming up into the bag, capsular bag. This is a clear indication this is a very lax bag, and I should have probably placed a CTR well in advance, but better late than never, as the area of dialysis has not appeared to have increased in spite of continuing the phacoemulsification. I insert the CTR with as much precaution as I had earlier mentioned, and once the CTR has been placed, I go about removing the cortex in a slow fashion. So at any point of time when there is a suspicion, you should go in and place the CTR, although if you know of it, placing it right at the beginning is a great help. This is again a case of a pediatric cataract and a small area of dialysis, as you could see. A pediatric cataract has to be treated like a premium cataract surgery, so you need to inject high viscoelastic, ensure that you get a centered rhexis, and the challenge here in a pediatric cataract tends to be very elastic. Over and above the pseudoelasticity, which is because of the little area of the zonular dialysis, this was the case of a Marfan syndrome, and it's always advised when you're doing a rhexis to start away from the area of the dialysis and then go on. And in the case, it's always advised to make a smaller rhexis. You could always enlarge it after implanting the IOL, and more so you need to enlarge the rhexis after placing an IOL in a pediatric, because the chance of phimosis is very significant in these young eyes. Removing the nucleus and the cortex is quite easy, and as you can see, till now I have not used a CTR, and the area of dialysis continues to remain a very small area. I tease out all the cortex. I even go ahead and do a posterior capsular polishing. The bag still continues to be stable. But at this point of time, what I would like to add, that if it were a case of a traumatic cataract, I might have withheld on using a CTR, but since it's a Marfan syndrome and the situation of progression of dialysis is eminently possible as the child grows, so it makes sense to insert a CTR and stabilize the bag, circularize it, and then inject the multifocal IOL into the bag. This is again another situation wherein the surgery appears to have got nearly completed, and all I have to do is to go in and inject remove the viscoelastic, and lo behold, I get this subincisional area of dialysis with the vitreous presenting. So again, I need to be just absolutely clear-headed that I inject enough viscoelastic, deepen the bag, and then inject the CTR even at this point of time. And after, I think it's not clear because of the air bubbles, and after you have inserted the CTR, ensure that's well into the bag and the bag is circularized, then you go ahead and do a vitrectomy in that area of dialysis, and then in this area, and once the vitrectomy is done, the bag gets further stabilized and the case can be concluded. This was another situation wherein the cortex has been removed and the IOL is being injected into the bag. Sometimes it's an n number of cases. We tend to get quite complacent about the whole surgery. You switch on to the next case, and there was a similar mindset at that point of time. The intraocular lens is well seated into the bag, and then all I have to now do is go ahead and remove all the visco from the bag. And as I'm removing all the viscoelastic in front of the bag and behind the capsular bag, at this point of time, suddenly, accidentally, I just grip the edge of the rhexis, and see, I'm just doing a PC polish, and I get the whole part of the capsular bag down. So at this point of time, all we have to do is, as I had been earlier alluding to, you have to just go back, inject enough viscoelastic into the bag, reposition the intraocular lens such that the haptic of the lens is positioned in the area of dialysis. And of course, it's very important that the anterior chamber is deep through all these maneuvers, enough viscoelastic in the bag. And once you have placed the haptic which pushes back the dialysis, you should definitely, unhesitantly, although the intraocular lens looks quite stable at this point of time, you should go ahead and insert a CTR to be sure that this IOL remains in the bag well centered over the years to come. So there are n number of, this is the last case which I would like to show, like sometimes you make an error at more than 2 clock hours of dialysis and you having not noticed it and have inserted the CTR, the patient may come back 2 years or 3 years, 10 years down the line, and especially if it's a case of a progressive progression of zonular weakness, or if it's a pseudo-exfoliative case, the patient may come back with a subluxated bag, and in this situation all that you need to do is to inflate the bag and remove the lens gently, and which comes off quite easily. The minute the AC shallows, you'll find the whole lens and the whole bag complex coming out. But it's important that you remember to look for a CTR which could be placed. This was a patient who was operated elsewhere, so I decided that I have to remove this capsular bag remnant. So as I remove the capsular bag remnant, the CTR also comes out. And of late, I've had very good, in the last 3-4 years, I prefer to do an iris, retro-fixated iris in all of these situations, wherein I just enlarge the wound and insert iris fixated lens and hold it with the stabilizing forceps at the center of the optics, and create 2 side ports horizontally at the 6 o'clock and the 12 o'clock position, and with the dialing hook, enclavate each of the haptics into retro iris, and this appears to be a great solution with a stable IOL and a happy patient at the end of it. I could go on and on with n number of situations where CTR bails us out through these early subluxations. Thank you.